This is not just another golf podcast. This is Golf Underground. This is Golf Underground. We just happen to be the third funniest podcast in golf. Anyway, we interview PGA Tour pros, Hall of Fame athletes, rock stars, business leaders. Sure, we talk about golf, but we have fun. All right, let's do it. Welcome to Golf Underground. Now your hosts, Wardo, Sully, and MLB Hall of Famer George Brett.
Thanks for joining the Golf Underground. Now, the Golf Underground is brought to you by Star Companies, KC. Experience a more energy-efficient and comfortable home with Star's insulation services. Regal Distributing, specializing in the distribution of food service and professional cleaning supplies to a variety of industries. Cowell Insurance, providing brokerage and risk management services for over 25 years. Sono Orthopedics, care plans backed by research and clinical results tailored perfectly to individual needs. Bob Sight Ford and Bob Sight Independence Kia, where you'll score a double eagle on your next car or truck. Lewisburg Ford, nobody sells more F-150s than Lewisburg Ford. And Celebrity Greens, put a custom PGA caliber putting green in your backyard for the ultimate golf experience. Now, onto the program.
Hey, welcome to Golf Underground. ESPN Kansas City. We are back in the stable. It's a big week. We've got the Open 2024 and George Wardo. We hate to say you got to start with the current events of just a couple days ago. We had the assassination attempt on President. What do you think?
Sad,
crazy,
sad. You said our country's come to this. And I'm sure, Drew, you'll attest to this. I remember when people used to just disagree without hatred. Now, if you disagree with someone, you hate them. And it's just not right. That's not the USA that I know.
Yeah. Well said.
I completely agree. I was with a friend in Denver, Colorado this weekend, and this person feels a certain way about issues. I feel the other way. And we had a fine civil conversation, agreed to disagree, because a lot of my beliefs, and you guys are probably the same, are built through my personal experience. And I know my personal experience is completely different from yours, whether that's built on a moral or ethical or just a common sense grounds. I build certain things certain ways, and I know you're going to build certain things the other way in your mind. So why we should get angry that somebody else disagrees with us, that's what makes our country great, is the free exchange and the civil exchange of ideas.
Yep.
And we need to be able to agree to disagree. And the whole point is, our system, you go out and you voice your opinion at the ballot box, not with weapons and certainly not with evil rhetoric. And we need to get back to just being friends again. I know it sounds kind of probably a little bit square, but that's kind of how I feel.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? Obviously, from the Secret Service, the way they handled it on the back end was obviously incredible. But what's your take on how does a kid get up on a building 150 yards away, sneaky, unscathed? Like, how does that happen?
You want my take?
Sure.
Here we have the conspiracy theory.
I was about to say,
whatever happened to JFK?
This
Was
is
it
the
one
Golf
shooter or
Underground
two shooters?
version.
Shit had Oliver Stone today.
Yeah.
Golf Underground version of Alex Jones. Go.
No, I don't know. It's just, it's awful scary. But listen, I think it goes back to if we think of the game of golf, what you just described and how people typically communicate.
That's
very rarely do you have political conversations with a foursome, right? You're just golfing.
Very rarely.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even talk about, hey, what do you do for work? You just golf and enjoy each other's company. So there's something to be learned about us taking it off the golf course and treating people the same way. Like we just met them on the first tee box, right? And I think if we do that, good things happen.
Well, and that's what makes the game of golf so great. Drew, you said let the your vote at the ballot box take care of itself. It's no different than golf. Let the club swing them, add them up at the end of the day, and your golf and your score speaks for itself. It's pretty simple to see who the best player is week in, week out.
Yeah, true.
And that's something that you and I weren't the other day.
George,
lost $10.
Did you?
A whopping $10.
Lost $10.
Well,
and you should have seen this man cry when he had to reach in his wallet and a $10 bill.
Hey, it's not the $10 bill; it's handing it over. That's what hurts.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's why Venmo doesn't even feel as good because George, you and I were teammates against he and Illig and Justin Reed. Maybe a month or so ago.
Yeah. How did we do?
Why we won? But I didn't see any of the money come back.
Venmo. So it's in your phone somewhere. I didn't get it out. I didn't get the money out. It won't come out of my phone.
We got to come up with like the George coin.
Yeah, exactly.
There's got to be a George coin. They're all worth $5. Right. That's
okay.
it.
Can I say one more thing about politics before we start?
Please.
I just wish Republicans and Democrats alike would do what's right for the country sometimes and not what's just right for their party. If that makes sense.
My opinion
do what's
is
right for the country. 2024 is different than 2000. 2024 is different than 1994. There's been a lot of things happen. And I think if these politicians weren't so locked in on what their party believes and say, okay, look, it's a different time. Let's do what's right for the country now. I think we wouldn't be in the mess we're in.
My opinion is term limits, 2 terms is your limit.
I agree with that 100%.
And it's also a service to our country. It's not a salaried position, and all sort of trading that we've seen some issues with insider trading. All that is frozen while you're in service. So it'll truly be a public service.
Yeah. I'm with you. All right. Well, now back to the maybe more trivial parts of our life, which is the fun game of golf. Of course, you've made it a career. Right now, you're down in Springfield. Tell us what you're doing down there.
Well, I'm walking around looking at the Morris family homes around Highland Springs Country Club because there's some incredible architecture that can distract you from the golf course. If a guy from Atlanta would not know that these kind of homes exist in central Missouri. So very impressive. Just walking around this neighborhood this morning and checking out the golf course and the architecture.
Yeah. What'd you think of the golf course?
A lot of less than driver. So it's going to be, just putting it in position. I talked to a couple of guys who've been here multiple times. One guy's been here 17 times. He said the greens have never been this good on a Monday and the rough's never been this healthy. So you might actually see somewhat of a proper golf course in a golf tournament this week in Missouri. I know sometimes you can get some crazy low scores here because of the conditions. They have to keep the course wet or else they lose the golf course. So maybe a little firmer conditions keeps the scores a little bit more reasonable. We won't see 58s and 59s, which we've been seeing a lot of on all levels of pro golf lately, just to show you how good these guys are. But, you'll see some low scores, but the course is really healthy. And here in Missouri right now, the heat is definitely cooking. I was sweating pretty good at 9 o'clock this morning. So the ball's going to go a long way, but I think it's going to be a fun week here.
What's the name of the course you're at?
Highland Springs.
Highland Springs Country Club, just southeast of Springfield. Again, I think Johnny Morris's son lives right off the second hole. Big palatial estate. Very, very nice. A lot of fishing rods built that house.
Yes. A lot of lures, a lot of tracker boats, a lot of everything. Yeah. For the outdoor world built that house.
All right, give us your recap before we get into the British Open and all that. Give us your recap on the Scottish, what you thought of the tournament and how it played out.
Yeah, it's always great when the home team wins, right? Whether it's at Royal Stadium, whether it's at Chiefs Stadium, whether it's at the Scottish Open, Robert McIntyre. And the way he did it, and he's just such a nice guy. I remember being in the group working with NBC when he played one of his first events over here, the WGC match play at Austin Country Club. And his match reached the 18th tee, and it's kind of a funky hole. And he hit this perfect drive right on the crest of the hill. He got about 90 on the ground. Well, the group in front of him was Dustin Johnson's match. DJ's lining up an 8-footer for birdie to win his match, and McIntyre's ball rolls between DJ's ball and the hole. Yeah. So DJ has to go mark Robert's ball so he can putt in his match. And, of course, this is Robert's first experience really playing with some of these guys. Comes up literally hat in hand apologizing. "Oh, Dustin, I'm so sorry. "Hey, what are you talking about, man? It was a great shot. I wish I'd hit that shot." So just kind of lighten the mood. And typical DJ, just kind of very, very self-effacing humor. But Robert, always been a very nice guy, has admitted to his struggles playing in the States. It's much more of you're an independent entity in the U.S., whereas you go over to Europe and it's much more fraternal, much more like a team sport where you travel in the same buses and the same planes with all the guys. And it's no surprise to me that he goes back home a couple of weeks. And after his huge win in Canada earlier this year with his dad on the bag. So again, places or people he's familiar with, he has success. So no surprise also that he's pretty high on the board this week at Troon over on the west coast of Scotland.
Yeah. All right. What's your take on Troon?
I've been there. This week seems like the wind is going to come. If you've been there, Turnberry's a little southwest of Troon, and it seems like all the wind's going to come from Turnberry to Troon. So the front nine's going to kind of play into the wind, back nine's going to play with the wind, helping left to right. And again, forecast there can change in a heartbeat, but it looks pretty consistent. Looks like the wind's going to come out of the same area each day. It's going to come same velocity. If that's the case, then a guy that's a ball striker that really knows what window he's hitting it in more often than not, maybe a guy like a Sergio Garcia who just won on Live. Look for those guys to play really, really good. The more consistent you are and the more consistent the variables, that really plays into your hands on a place where accuracy is going to be at its premium. Talked to a couple of guys who have been over there. They already say that the rough is just probably some of the meatiest rough you'll see at an Open Championship. Just, a couple yards off the fairway cut, you could have unplayable lies. And you don't normally see that. It's a little bit more graduated unless you get into like the course.
So would your recommendation be if you were on someone's bag is assault that front nine? That's where you're going to that's where you're going to score, and then chill out a little on the back because you're going into those winds?
Well, no, it's going to flip. It could flip this way. If it comes from the southwest, the front nine will actually be the harder nine. And then the back nine, you're getting a little help left to right. Again, if it comes from the northwest, that's when the front nine's all playing downwind, which is a pretty normal wind. But this week, I think it could come from the southwest again. It'll change probably within the coverage window each day, but it's forecasted to come southwest. So like 18 would be playing down off the left. And that makes those holes play so much easier. Again, the wind could flip around and do some funny things, but the longest par 5 in Open Championship history could be playing into the wind off the right this week. So 623, I think, which for those of us on the Korn Ferry Tour last week in Denver, we played a 773-yard par 5. So we don't think 623 is too bad right now.
Throw a little 10 to 12% on that, though. And
we had 422 to the front of the green after a drive of about 325 yards on Friday. And I don't think I've ever given that number to a pro ever. 422 to the front, pro. And we weren't upset about it. Normally if you're getting 422 to the front, something's gone horribly wrong. We were in the middle of the fairway and hit a good drive. We had 422 front.
So that what was do you hit when you're 422 out going to a par 5?
Hit a 3-wood around all of the catch bunkers in the layup zone. And then we hit a nice solid full 8-iron in on our third shot, which is also something pros, they don't normally crack a driver 3-wood and then have a short iron in their hand into a par 5.
Was it into the wind?
Very uncommon feeling.
Was it into the wind?
It was when we played it. And then that follows up. The very next hole is only 273 par 3.
4-iron?
So 1,000 yards of golf in 2 holes. And if you can go through there in 4 and 3, you've done quite well. So again, they're going to talk a lot about some long holes this week. And again, they're at sea level, completely different from where we were in Denver last week. But 623 is the longest par 5 in Open Championship history. And that could play into a hurting wind this week. So you'll see some guys like Bryson and some guys like Scotty Scheffler maybe doing the same thing, hitting 8-irons on third shots into par 5, something very foreign to those guys.
What hole is that, the longest one?
6, 7, something like that. 8 is the postage stamp.
Yep.
And the par 5, I want to say, is right before that. Again, you're calling me out. I should probably know something like that.
You're focused on Springfield this week, not the Open.
I was looking at course maps of Highland Springs this morning, not Troon. So
yes,
I apologize.
Speaking of the postage stamp, so it's 120 yards ish, right? Really small green. And some fun stuff has happened on that, right? I mean, 120 yards.
It's elevated. Isn't it elevated too? Isn't the green up here and everything? If you miss it, it just rolls off to the side.
Yeah, the green is exposed and everything runs off. It's almost like a little tabletop in the middle you're trying to hit to. And the bunkers catch everything. It's not like things go toward the bunkers. I mean, they are a funnel. And you can hit a shot anywhere around those bunkers and they'll roll around and then down like going down the drain in your sink. And it's so frustrating. And if you get up against any of the sidewalls of those bunkers, you really don't. I mean, there's going to be guys practicing funny shots that you're going to see on social media these next couple of days, but you actually do need to practice those shots, hitting off one knee on the turf, 1 foot in the sand, things like that. You really need to understand some of the dynamics that how your core is going to react, because you're going to have a shot like that at some point this week. And it may be on the postage stamp. We've seen, I think it was Jordan Spieth last time we went, hit one, tried to hop one out of there, kind of chunk one out of there, and it got up to the green, came back, rolled behind the bunker, and then went back in. And that just makes your brain want to melt. And it's a very frustrating thing, but that's part of the kind of the rub of the green of the Open Championship that I don't know about you. It's sitting on my couch on a Saturday or Sunday morning watching those guys have those headaches. That is pure entertainment for me. As a caddy, I hate it.
Yeah. So did you practice those shots, like hitting out of a bunker on one knee and,
I don't
all of that, one leg out, one leg in?
Yeah, I don't.
Do you practice those?
No. But
When was the last time he actually practiced a traditional bunker shot?
But I know I will have that shot. Why practice it? I'll get plenty of opportunity out in the course.
You'll get 4 tries at it when you go play the post. Right?
Hey, listen, the last time we played, I had a little, when you were my partner, I did a little.
Yes, you very well, too.
It was on the
very good.
I could have gone in and put the leg.
Right.
I did. It's true. You loved it. I did the old back behind. What did I do? I got up.
Yeah.
I believe we won the hole.
That's just how good of an athlete you are. Your hand-eye is just impeccable.
Yeah.
You can't hide talent.
No, you can't. But hey, listen, on that hole, closing on that, Tiger Woods, 1997, triple bogeyed that hole. Now, that's a big deal. Do you guys ever get sort of frustrated and they turn it into like, that's a tic-tac, 123, it's all crap. But look at how do they ever get frustrated with the old world design that sometimes could be confused as a little quacky?
Of course, yeah. I mean, again, and it's just it's a mindset thing. And sometimes you can even say, this is such a dumb hole. I'm just going to do this and just move on. And sometimes it turns into a great strategy. And one of the great examples of that in major championship history was Billy Casper at Winged Foot back in the 1960s. He thought the third hole was stupid. So he laid up every day to the fairway cut, made par 4 days, and won the U.S. Open. And that strategy can completely exist also at the Open Championship, whether it's a quirky par 4, really long par 5, or even the postage stamp. Maybe you actually try to hit it into a particular bunker that's not as penal as, like, the front bunker is not as bad as the ones on the side. And you say, hey, let's just get a number just over the front bunker. And if we end up going in the front bunker, we can still play to all 4 hole locations. And you almost play defensive by just saying, hey, I'm going to make a bogey here this week. But if I only make 13 strokes on this hole in 4 rounds, I've gained shots on the field. And that's how everybody's kind of looking at it now. We're looking at almost the way baseball, the sabermetrics and all that would look at in baseball. We're looking, how can we save shots? If I can save 0.3 of a shot here or 0.2 of a shot here over the course of a week, well, that's nearly a full shot. If I'm saving 0.2 of a shot, I'm nearly saving a full shot on the field if I do something this way. So that's what guys are looking at today, tomorrow, Wednesday, and even, last weekend when guys were first arriving. If I hit it in the front bunker on 8, can I get away with maybe 13 shots this week and pick up shots on the Brian Harmons and the Sam Burns and guys like that?
That's smart.
Because you're not picking up shots hitting it left or right or over.
No, the side bunkers, they're death. You do not want the ball going sideways. Long or short, there's okay. You can survive. But sideways, that's when you get the side walls and you're trying to you only got a couple of yards to land it coming out of one of those bunkers. Whereas if you're north and south, you've got the whole of the green to kind of hit your next shot.
Yeah.
And again, when you see things like that, you say, okay, let's try to keep this one, down that center spine, no matter what our distance is.
Yeah.
How do you handle that when a caddy presents what seems like a very logical word of advice there?
Not very good.
The first question I always ask is,
hey, I say this because George carried Wardo's bag at the Watson Open, Watson Challenge recently. So he's lived it. So
yeah, he was pretty quiet except for one hole. That one hole didn't work out too well. But hey, the Indian was hitting the shot. No, I think the first thing I always ask a caddy wherever I go to ABC Resort or whatever is, what's your handicap? I usually wait till about the first green to ask him that. That way I'm not too over the top. And then if he says I'm a 14, I'm going to go ahead and like nod my head when he reads a putt, but I'm just going to read my own putts. And that's kind of how I handle it. But I think long and short on these holes, and I think when Payne Stewart won at Pinehurst, Chuck Cook took an X and marked where he's going to hit the ball on his yardage book in every hole. And he said, you're going to try to hit it on this middle of this green on every single hole, wherever the pin is. So take the pin out of the equation. And I'll make the argument to some of these kids I work with that if you go play without the pins in the hole locations, you might shoot your lowest round ever. You know, you're just firing to the middle of the green. And all of a sudden you're going from hitting 6 greens around or whatever these kids are hitting to, 10, 12, 14 greens by just taking the flag stick out of the hole.
Well, and at the Open, some of those greens, they are so small or the miss is so severe that you just want to drop anchor out of 72 holes, maybe drop anchor 60 times in the middle of the green, and you can probably pick up a claret jug. If you can get to the middle of every green as a strategy, you're never, I don't know who said it. Some old timer said it recently, said the middle of the green never moves.
Nope.
So about a month ago, we had the Watson Challenge in town, and I always carry for Wardo. And the first day was kind of a struggle. We shot 6 over, and the next day he's 4 under going into 17. And the day before, he said he's going to hit a little baby cut, take it up, out of bounds left, creek all the way down the right. I'm going to hit a baby cut. Well, it didn't cut that much and went kind of straight. And we didn't know if it was inbounds or out of bounds. So he drops another one, hits it about 340 right down the middle. And so now we're 3 under or 4 under going into that hole the next day. Okay, the 17th hole. And I go, fuck that baby cut. Just hit one like you did yesterday, your second one. And sure enough, he gets up there and he snap hooks it, hits a tree. We think it's going to be all right. See, I'd rather we don't find it. He takes another one out, snap hooks it out of bounds. Then he hits one down the middle. And so I'm just standing there with his bag. I'm not saying a word. And he comes in, he goes, I got to hit my shot. Let me hit my shot. And he throws his driver in the bag, knocks it on, and then 3 putts for a nice 9.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he turned a 3 under or 4 under round into a 4 or 5 over round on one hole.
Do you want to hear what really he said?
So then I text him that night and I go, am I still caddying tomorrow? He said, I'll see you at 9.
He said he stands out in front of the tee with it's like at the air traffic control guy, and he gets an X. He goes, whatever we're going to do, we're not going to hit the shot we tried to hit here yesterday. I go, well, what fucking shot are we going to hit? Because it sure sets up for a cut. And usually when I hit a cut, if I overcut it, at least I'm in the soup on the right and I can go drop, right? And so I basically said, George, I got it. And then
he said, I got this. I got it.
I proceeded not to pick one shot at all and hit a toe bang hook out of bounds. So stay hot.
And the funny thing is, Drew, we were playing with a friend of ours. We were playing with a friend of ours who was caddying for his son, and he got fired on the 16th hole.
Yeah.
There's Heath Henry, his son, fired the dad on the 16th hole on the green, and I thought I got fired on the 17th, and we're all good friends. I said, Heath, why don't I caddy for Henry tomorrow? You caddy for Wardo.
We've had those discussions as professionals before walking down fairways, saying, hey, why don't we just switcheroo here and maybe everybody have a little less stress the rest of the day. That's actually been discussed in the middle of professional events. But I'm actually able to be employed because every single professional golfer I work for at some point has fired their mother and father.
Right, yeah.
So,
that's funny.
But my question to you, George, is Wardo a good tipper?
Yeah, I got a bottle of Opus One.
Oh, well, there you go.
That's pretty good.
Fantastic.
He said he couldn't find the Chateau Lafite Rothschild, which I really like. So I got the Corn Ferry tip rather than the PGA Tour tip.
I called our buddy that owns the wine store, Leewood Wine, and I said, can you get me this, this, and this? And then I go to pick it up, the Opus, and the guy that's ringing me up says, gosh, you must really like this person. He goes, I hope this is a gift. So there you go.
There you go.
That's funny.
And I will drink it the only time I will drink it if he comes over to the house.
Or if you caddy a 6-under round in the Watson Challenge next year, maybe that's an occasion to crack it open as well.
Maybe we'll just go win the thing next year instead of making a 9 when we've got the round of the day going.
Yeah.
Maybe I come and caddy for Sully in that next year, and we get paired together, and we have a nice little foursome out there.
Yeah.
Sully might have to do the Monday qual. I don't like his chances.
Yeah, I don't like my chances. All right, let's do this. Let's take a short commercial break. When we come back, let's talk about some of the talent who's playing in the Open this week. We'll talk about some of our picks. I mean, it's been a pretty interesting year, right? Certainly Scotty and what he's doing and beyond. And Bryson has really reinvented himself. And few people know Bryson as much as you do because you carried his bag. So come on back. We're with Drew Hinesley, the Golf Underground.
Cowell Insurance Services is your leading program administrator for workers' compensation. They're dedicated to meeting the unique challenges of the insurance industry and assisting employers in reducing their costs. CIS has provided insurance, claim, and loss control services to various industries, including trucking, construction, retail convenience stores, and healthcare, as well as public entities for over 30 years. They work with both retail agents and industry clients, or a combination of the two. If you're tired of fighting the rising costs of premiums and claims, give Cowell Insurance Services a call. Their dedicated staff is ready to find you the best insurance option at the most competitive price. They can help to define or enhance your safety program in order to move you in the right direction in reducing your claim and premium costs. Contact Cowell Insurance Services today, 816-214-4070.
What's up, Underground? Sully here with a message from our friends over at Bob's Site. Now, buying a new vehicle can be a bit like buying a new set of clubs, which means when you want to drive the ball straight, you seek advice from experts, golf pros like our boy Wardo. And when it comes to buying your next car or truck, you also need expert advice so that you drive away in style. Well, you now have options with the Site family's expanded dealership, now including Honda and Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram in Lawrence, Kansas. And they're there to guide you to the perfect vehicle. With a commitment to exceptional service and a real passion for helping each customer, they're like the trusted golf pros of the auto world. And they're ready to analyze your needs and match you with your ideal ride. So step into bobsite.com or visit their Lawrence locations. Experience the difference of a team that's dedicated to helping you navigate your options, ensuring you drive off with confidence and satisfaction.
Hey, welcome back, Golf Underground. Back in the stable. We're having a great time. It's Open 2024 week, which is always a blast. I kind of like getting up bright and early in the morning.
Yep.
All you do is turn that on. It's nice. Right before you meet with your buddies for coffee.
It's not Chopin on TV in the morning. Because every time I turned it on, it was always women's golf.
Yeah, there was a lot of women's golf on last week.
Yeah.
Because I get up like at 6 a.m. I get up, I said, I'm going to watch Scottish Open, see if they show Sherry. And next thing you know, I'm watching somebody named Sherry instead of Jeremy. It was really weird.
By the way, there are very few LPGA golfers named Sherry.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not a Korean name.
They were playing in Evian, France, which is several hours ahead of the East Coast and the Central Time Zone USA. So it makes sense that they would have some live women's action in the same window as the Scottish Open. And you may end up seeing a little bit of that this week. They're going to be over there for a couple of weeks. Sure, and I think usually the Open Championship is it a USA product? So TNT, maybe.
What
NBC.
channel will it be on?
It might be TNT.
Well, it's an NBC product on the weekend, but I think they actually share with USA Thursday, Friday. So check your local listings, but that may be how you watch it.
Thursday, yeah.
Well, they'll do the multi-view too, I'm sure, right? I mean,
Well, yeah, they've got the streaming on Peacock, feature groups, all that stuff that you can watch. So,
yeah. All right. So we have defending champion Brian Harman. We got world number 1 Scotty. We got major winners like Rory, Xander, Yeah, a lot of storylines here, but a storyline I want to bring up because again, you caddied for him is Bryson and what Bryson has done this year, and he's straddled the weird line between the Live Tour and still being likable, more likable than he's ever been in his life to even the PGA guy. How the hell did he do that?
He's done a lot of work off the golf course, and it just in terms of getting things in order in his life. He's also just matured a little. You guys remember what it was like going from 25 to 30. People talk to you different at Thanksgiving dinner, and you're like, why do they talk to me different? Well, because you're not an idiot anymore. And, sometimes that just happens. And he's in that, he's approaching 30. I think he's there now, maybe at 30, soon to be anyway. And he's just at that stage of life where maybe he's mellowing out just a touch. And again, I was actually with NBC with Bryson first 2 rounds at Pinehurst. And we actually exchanged text after he won on Sunday, just telling him, hey, I like what I'm seeing. Keep it up. And he was like, yeah, no problem. So he does seem to have calmed down a little bit, and he's playing really good golf. And I'm not sure that'll continue this week just because accuracy is such a premium. And the variable of wind always drives him a little bananas, because he wants to launch it a certain way. He wants to hit it a certain way, and he does spin it a lot. And that's not great. Playing the aerial game is not great in Scotland. So I expect a little bit of a drop-off. There's only 2 guys that have a chance to go top 10 in every major this year, and that's Bryson and Xander. I don't think Bryson will do it. I think Xander will do it.
Why?
I just think Xander knows how to play that ground game. Xander, he's a really good scrambler. I think underrated. I think his up and down on the 72nd hole at Valhalla gave you a little hint as to what he can do under pressure, but Xander's really good in every phase of the game. Bryson, I would say, can struggle sometimes with the mental side, get a little frustrated at a break that doesn't go his way. And Xander's a little bit more shrug it off, SoCal kind of chill. And Bryson's NorCal very intense. And I think those 2 personalities may show themselves this week at Troon. And again, don't know tee times yet. So maybe one of the guys gets on the good side of the wave and the other doesn't. And that, we've seen, I think it was at Birkdale where Tiger was crouching down behind the placard, the tee marker placard, because the wind was so hard. You could end up with something silly like that this week, and it causes somebody to miss a cut who's playing pretty good, but they just get a bad break. So we'll see.
I think, too, the thing about Bryson, and he kind of said this in his post-round interview, and those golf influencer guys, Good is from Kansas City, and I think he spent a lot of time on this in front of the camera, playing for fun, all this social media shit, which we all kind of look at and we're like, what? It's kind of trivial that was his answer, but I think he's come into his own through this thing, through this social media thing. And I think that's allowed him to become a little bit more of himself, or let people see his deal. And how I can tell that is the younger group of kids that I teach or whatever. I'm asking them who they like or who's going to win or whatever. And they all are saying Bryson all of a sudden, where 5 years ago, that wasn't the case. And so I think some of that weirdly plays into it. And he self-admittedly said that.
No, I mean, he definitely thrives on the attention, and the attention from the next generation, I think, gives him even more of a shot in the arm. The fact that kids are coming up wearing his clothes, asking for his autograph, I think that's always been an ambition of his, to grow the game, but also to be a star. And somehow, like Sully said, somehow he's managed to straddle this line of leaving the PGA Tour. And really, I would say maybe Bryson and Brooks are the 2 guys that are still pretty universally liked from Live. And the other guys, even, I mean, John Rahm, has anybody fallen more off the map than a John Rahm? Former number 1 in the world, Masters champ just a year ago. And nobody's talking about him at big events anymore. So Bryson and Brooks have kind of managed that minefield better than the other guys have. And Bryson, I would say, is thriving in this new role of the people's champ, if you will. But I think this week will be a little bit of a return to form with some of the anger issues. I think you could really see, because the one thing he hates is unpredictability, and that is the nature of the Open. It's very unpredictable. Every single shot is different. And I think that drives him bananas. So if you could see some frustration in this new form of Bryson, it could happen at Troon.
Boy, thank God he doesn't wear what was the name of that hat he used to wear?
Camo Shantern.
That's the ugliest hat I've ever seen. And could you imagine now all these kids like him, and you go to your country club and you see a 10-year-old kid wearing a hat like that?
All right, George, I got a question.
I would clobber that kid.
First time I ever saw Bryson was at the U.S. Amateur in 2014 at Atlanta Athletic Club. Didn't know who he was, and all I said was, that guy better be really good at golf. And one more side note, Brian Ziegler, who used to caddy for Bryson, won yesterday in Kentucky on the bag with Harry Hall, who wears the same kind of hat.
Oh,
I don't know if he's contractually obligated to only work with guys that wear the Camo Shanterns.
George, I got a question. Would you rather see a guy in the Shantern hat or a backwards hat on the golf course?
Neither. I mean, I don't like guys that wear their hats backwards, and I hate the Calvin Pete style hat. I don't know what you called it, Drew. I don't know what the Camo Shantern. Is that what he called it?
Camo Shantern.
Camo Shantern.
Camo Shantern.
It's not Kango? I thought it was with a Kango.
Tangle.
Camo Shantern is what I'm led to believe it is.
So let me ask you a question. If that company came up to you and said, hey, will you wear our hat? We'll give you $20,000 a tournament. Would you wear it?
Boy, $20,000 pays a lot of bills.
Okay, $5,000.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Okay.
But hey, I'll tell you what.
Would you wear one?
You know who made that hat look good?
Calvin Pete.
No, Payne fucking Stewart.
Yeah.
Payne Stewart looked good in it.
Well, when he won at the place in North Carolina, Pinehurst, you know, Payne won there and he was wearing that hat. And I didn't know that Bryson was a Payne Stewart freak, that he loved them. And maybe that's why he was wearing those hats to start with. Is that why he was wearing that?
SMU.
Some of that.
Yeah.
Both guys are also SMU grads. But yeah,
right.
Also Bryson is a huge Ben Hogan disciple, you know, trying to find the perfect swing. So that's always kind of been some of the inspiration there too. And just to be different. And that's certainly different. But I want to ask you, George, does anybody wear a backwards hat better than Ken Griffey Jr.? And did you ever ask him to turn it back around right way?
I did mention to him one time, I played against his father in AAA. I was in Omaha in 1973 and his dad was in Indianapolis. And I got to the big leagues and Ken Griffey Jr. was wearing his hat backwards. And I said, if your dad saw you wearing your hat backwards, he'd kill you. Because Ken Griffey Sr. was a no-nonsense guy when he was with the Cincinnati Reds. And I think he mellowed a little bit the older he got. And probably when Ken Sr. and Jr. were playing for the Mariners together, they were probably both wearing their hats backwards in batting practice. And I know in Kansas City, you're not allowed to do it on the field. But you see in the locker room all the time, guys wearing their hats backwards. And it just drives me crazy. Mm-hmm. Absolutely drives me crazy. I guarantee you, I'm going to Cooperstown this weekend for the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Ken Griffey will be on the golf course. He'll have his hat on backwards, probably.
Hey, will you say anything to him?
No. I'm 71. I've mellowed out a little bit too.
Okay. Well,
it doesn't drive me crazy like it used to.
I grew up playing ball for a coach that wouldn't let us wear our hats backwards, and that was in the mid-'90s when Griffey was everything. And so we were all like, but he's doing it. And our coach would always say, when you get to the big leagues, you can wear your hat any way you like.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Good point.
Amazing.
All right, let's do this. Let's take a commercial break. When we come back. It's George's favorite time during the majors. It's when you get to pick who you think is going to win.
But I got to pick somebody that
his dark horse is going to be like Ludwig Aberg. That's going to be his dark saber guy.
Well, I watched him. He's like my favorite guy on tour now, and I know his caddy, Joe Scobby, real well.
Yeah, Scobby
can pick a bag, can he?
He's got a good resume.
We need you to pick bags like him.
I'm trying. Trust me.
Yeah. Well, if I was a tour player, you'd be on my bag.
Yeah.
Thanks, George.
Me too. It wouldn't be George Brett.
You could be on my bag, but it would be in the Net Club Championship. So
he's out on that. Yeah.
All right, come on back. We're with Drew Hinesley. It's Open Week 2024. We're on the Golf Underground.
Hey, Brian Sullivan of Golf Underground with my favorite orthopedic surgeon, Dr. Kevin Whitty from Sano Orthopedics. Hey, Doc, golf season's over. My back is killing me. I know it's football season, so you get a lot of kids coming in, blown ACLs, all sorts of body parts with problems. And then, of course, those baseball players. I know you fix a lot of elbows. Why is Sano Orthopedics the absolute best sports medicine orthopedic group in Kansas City?
Well, if you want to see the guys in town who've had the best orthopedic fellowship training in sports medicine, including training with Dr. James Andrews and Dr. Larry Lemack, come see us. We individualize patients' plans to get them back to that activity and that sport that they love. And we actually care and listen to our patients and follow up with them, make sure that they're getting the results they need.
Okay, and so the three things that separate you: number one, best training; number two, you specialize in getting people on that field; number three, you're actually listen. Where can I learn more? Because you got me all in, and I don't really want to get fixed, but it's time.
At SanoOrthopedics.com, 816-525-2840.
Hi, this is George Brett, Hall of Fame baseball player, and I've been playing golf for over 35 years. Hitting the ball far was never my problem, but the closer I got to the greens, that's when my problems began. When I wanted a golf practice area in my backyard, I called Celebrity Greens. They are the industry leader in custom-built synthetic golf greens. These championship caliber, low-maintenance greens roll great, react like real bent grass, and hold chip shots that check and spin. I absolutely love mine, not only in Kansas City, but also in Arizona. Call the pros at Celebrity Greens at 1-888-507-7960 or visit them online at celebritygreens.com. Practice like the pros, or people like me that want to be pros, right in your own backyard.
Hey, Brian Sullivan, Golf Underground, with a little tip for you. If you're looking to buy a new Ford, you have to check out my buddy, Jason Gudenkoff at Lewisburg Ford. They've been saving Midwest Ford buyers thousands of bucks for over 40 years because they do business the right way. They sell everything, check this out, for $50 over invoice. That's simple and cheap. And they win a lot of awards. In fact, they won Ford's President's Award 17 times. That's the top Ford award. And they only give it to dealers with superior customer satisfaction in sales and service. So they know how to take care of customers better than anybody. Now, what these guys know how to do also, keep this in mind, sell trucks. Lewisburg Ford has sold more F-150s than any other Ford dealership in greater Kansas City. That's 2 years running. And last year, they were the number one F-150 sales leader in the entire state of Kansas. So, no hassle. $50 over invoice pricing, unparalleled customer satisfaction, and a huge selection. That's a perfect recipe for selling trucks. So, check out all their inventory and prices online at lewisburgford.com or give them a call at 816-444-2300.
New golf clubs, a big screen TV to watch the U.S. Open, or maybe even a new golf cart that I've got my eye on.
No matter how you choose to spend the savings, if you're looking to put a dent in your monthly heating and cooling bills, the answer may be right over your head. If your attic isn't insulated properly, you're missing out on a prime opportunity to cut costs. Call the certified energy experts at Star Companies, Inc., 816-353-2160 for a free estimate to learn how they can help you save money. 816-353-2160 or visit starcompanieskc.com.
Hey, welcome back, Golf Underground. We're Drew Hinesley. He's I don't know. I think one of the greatest NBC vocalists, George.
I have to agree.
I agree.
Do you remember?
Oh, I do. I don't know why you're not doing that gig full time.
Bones, remember you wanted to.
You should be in the booth, let alone being a sideline guy like Colt Nose. You should be in the frickin' booth.
Well, guys, whatever contract I end up signing with NBC, you guys will get 7% of the agent fee.
That's perfect.
You guys negotiate the deal, and I'll sign on the bottom line and give you 7%.
Yeah,
love it.
We'll buy him an Opus and steal the rest of it.
Exactly.
That's a perfect setup. All right, so let's talk about the picks. We'll start with you, George. Give us your dark horse pick, and then who will win the Open.
I'm going to say the winner of the Open is going to be my new favorite golfer on tour, Ludwig Aberg.
Oberg.
All right, and Aberg. All right.
I love that guy. I watched.
So we're in the dark horse category where the top.
No, that's who's going to win. That's who I think's going to win.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure. I didn't know what the dark horse rules were, so I had to clarify.
Well, sometimes that would be my dark horse.
Yeah, that would be ambiguous.
And I think I'm going to go. Somebody told me this. I can't say who, but this is really a dark horse. I'm kind of caught between Dustin Johnson.
Oh, where'd you get that one?
And Ernie Els.
Jeez.
I'm gonna go Ernie Els.
Recent form.
I'm gonna go Ernie Els.
Wins at Firestone and flies to Troon with his buddy Darren Clark. Some good vibes on that flight.
Yeah,
pick, George.
I like it.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna go dark horse first. Gordon Sargent, amateur, playing as an amateur. I don't know if an amateur's ever won the Open.
Champs.
Gordon Sargent.
Not in the modern era. Of course, Bobby Jones won the British Open, but
he's no Bobby Jones.
And I am going to go with, I've got Cameron Young winning the Open.
Another guy that likes to run a little hot.
Another one.
Yeah.
He won 2 years ago, did he?
The Open, no.
He's never won on the
Smith. I'm sorry, I was thinking Smith.
Actually, I may renege that but I like that pick. Actually, I like that pick. Cam Young.
Okay.
You heard it here right here.
Going with a hot head in unpredictable conditions. That's bold.
That's bold, but that's why I'm taking him.
That's good.
Okay, Sully, what do you got?
Yeah. Let's
Actually, I'm reneging.
Yeah.
I'm taking Victor. I'm reneging. I'm taking Victor.
What's happening over here?
So let's see. Victor third at Valhalla, and then 79 at the Masters, 82 at the U.S. Open. So which version are you going with?
I'm going with third.
Okay.
Yeah, that's aggressive. All right.
He's been on and off with his coach. He's back with his coach. He's a little bit of an ball.
Yeah. Okay. Somebody else who's back with their coach is Colin Morikawa, who won at Royal St. George just a couple of years ago, and he's in form. But just saying, Sully.
He was my pick for the U.S. Open, though, Drew. So
Oh, you can't go. You can't double dip.
Nah, I can't double dip.
No. All right, go.
Wow.
Well, the dark horse typically for me traditionally has been the great Tommy Fleetwood, but I don't know if he's that much of a dark horse because
I think he's actually ahead of Hatton as favorites Englishman on the board. I mean, I think he's the highest odds of all the Englishmen, which is saying something.
Yep.
You taking him?
I will confirm that he is a higher odd than Tyrrell Hatton. And so listen, I got to go with the Irishman for my dark horse. Then we'll say Tommy's my man. And then we're going to go Shane Lowry because no one drinks as much after a victory at the Open.
Well, I'll go to more technical. I was with Shane at Bay Hill this year, and I was so impressed. His divots with his wedges are, 1 inch by 1 inch. They're not these long, steep, taking a lot of turf. And somebody that knows how to come in and clip them consistently shallow on very firm turf is always a good pick at the Open.
There you go.
Okay. And now you, Drew Hinesley, what's your picks?
A guy that's been really quiet but super solid, played really well last week and is getting a little bit more attention. Aaron Rai. I think Aaron Rai is going to have a really good showing this week. And my guy to win it, you know what? I'm going to go with kind of the dark horse to win, the runner-up last year, Sepp Straka.
Wow. Let's go.
Go Dogs.
All right.
Go Dogs.
Hey, what is the winner?
He works with Tillery. Tillery's a good dude.
He is.
You think Opus should go to the winner?
Yeah, why don't we text these out? Why don't you text these in the group so I don't get a text on Sunday morning from George saying, who is my pick again?
Yeah, I would have no idea. I'd have no clue.
Well, we know it's Ernie Els, and we know we won't have to worry about
Ernie Els. And
when Dustin Johnson is the 54-hole leader, I think George's pick is going to shift.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
There's some room to maneuver.
How can you not have a real gig on the network? That's crazy. Who's your agent? Do you have an agent?
You are my agent, George.
Wow.
You're the guy. I've been telling you this for 3 years. You're my agent.
Oh my God! Can you do baseball? Can you announce baseball too?
I was a left-handed pitcher. I think I know a thing or two.
You would be good at that then. You'd be good.
Hey,
why don't I come out and be a guest on some of the Kansas City Royals broadcast, and we'll use that as demo reel to send to NBC Universal.
Well,
I think that'd be great.
It's like when our team's really bad. Like last year, we lost 106 games. And this year we're like 8 games over 500 at the All-Star break. And you can always tell what kind of year we're having because our announcer, who has announced every Kansas City Royal game, Denny Matthews, he's been here since the team's first game in 1969. You can always tell because he's a hockey fanatic. When he's giving hockey scores late in the season instead of reporting on the baseball team, we're having a bad year. So let's hope that doesn't happen this year. And he talks Cleveland Indians and Boston Red Sox instead of the Montreal Canadiens beat the Vancouver Canucks tonight 4-2.
Well, I know there's a lot of moving parts to a Royals broadcast, and I wouldn't expect to do like a regular season, but maybe like the inter-squad game at spring training. I come out and just do a little demo reel with you guys next March.
Yeah, that would be great. And we'll play golf.
Speaking of Royals, have you watched George's documentary that came out last year, Brett?
No, I have not. I guess I need to, don't I?
Sounds like that's what you're doing tonight. I don't know where you find it, but you want to see George?
I used to have the link, but I don't know.
It's incredible.
It's been all these people sent it, and the Major League Baseball sent it to me, and they go, anytime you want to watch it, you just pull up this link and write down the password, and you can get it. But I don't know who sent it to me, and I don't want to go through 1,000 texts to figure it out.
I bet you.
Well, I'm
telling you, Jackson has it. I'll call my son Jackson, and he'll probably know exactly how to find it. And you can get on your iPad and watch it. Stream on your iPad.
Watch it. But I follow all these different baseball statistical accounts. I'm a numbers guy, numbers freak, and one of the things that just comes up, it's almost like every week I see it. George Brett is the only guy to win a batting title in 3 different decades. So what was the secret to that other than having a flat barrel through the impact zone?
That was good timing on years. They're only 14 years apart. And when you think of 3 decades, you think 30 years. It was 76, 80, and 90. So that was in a 15-year period. And I came in second a few times, but the one that I won my last year in 90, I was hitting like 260 at the All-Star break, and then got hot, obviously, and stayed hot, and ended up winning it on the last day of the season. So it was that was I think the biggest thrill was because everybody was saying I was done. You can't play anymore. Oh God, he got old quick, and see what happens when you don't take care of yourself at night. You lose your skills and you decline real fast. And I kind of rededicated myself the second half and ended up hitting like 390 the second half to beat Ricky Henderson by 2 points, I think, the last game of the year. Well, so that was one of the things I'm most proud of.
I teach my son kind of the Tony Gwynn, George Brett philosophy of keeping that bat as flat in the zone as long as possible. And all his coaches want him to do this.
Yeah.
And it drives me bananas.
Yeah, likewise.
Pop-ups and some dribblers.
Yeah. They want to hit him with home runs.
And your bat's only going to be in the zone for a second. But if your bat can stay through the zone, the same plane as the ball, you have a better chance to make contact. You don't strike out as much. The more balls you put in play, the more hits you're going to get. The more hits you get, the higher your average. Higher your average, the more money you make. The more money you make, guess what? The happier your wife is. The happier your wife is, the happier you are, believe me.
Well, I'm just next February, when we're starting practice in Georgia for Little League, I'm going to tell the coaches, hey, George Brett wanted me to tell you to shut up.
Screw launch angle.
Amazing. Play the ground game. It's British Open week, boys.
Right.
Yeah.
Play the ground game. All right.
Hello.
Hey, well, so I'll communicate with all of us about the victory on Monday. All right, Drew?
Send me the money.
And now listen.
You guys just send me what you owe me on Monday and I'll be fine.
All right, we'll send it. But in the meantime, why don't you guys win that tournament down in Springfield for us, would you?
We're certainly going to try him with Austin Greaser. It's his 6th week as a professional golfer out of North Carolina. He's part of the PGA Tour U program, which is an answer to guys like Eugenio Chikara and James Pyatt going straight to live. The PGA Tour created this PGA Tour University program to kind of pipeline their top stars like Ludwig Aubert and Michael Thorbjorsen, and now Austin Greaser has full status this year, coming straight out of North Carolina, and it's given me something to do this summer, run around chasing him. And we got a 4th place in Springfield, Illinois, So if maybe we could do a little better in this spring field, my wife would be happy.
Exactly.
Let's go.
Exactly.
Let's go.
So does this guy have a good attitude about the game? Can he get a triple bogey and bounce right back?
He can. And we made a triple bogey last week and actually tried to make a birdie on the next hole. We nearly did. So, he's really good. He's a field player. He's a little bit like Scotty, kind of Jordan, Justin Thomas, where he can hit different shots in different windows. Last week in Colorado, as you guys know, launch angle is so important. The way the ball comes off the club kind of determines the percentage that it's going to fly in the air. And being a field player, hitting in different windows, we had a lot of inconsistency. So getting back down here to the Ozarks, a little closer to sea level, may be a good recipe for our success this week.
Good. All right. Well,
awesome.
Good luck. Take it home, Drew. Thank you so much for taking the time. Every time you're on the show, you bring it back to life, buddy. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, guys. Really enjoyed it.
You're the best.
Thanks, brother. Have a good week. All right. We'll reconvene on Monday for the celebration, the Opus Championship. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Golf Underground.